So, what I've got for you today is a Zerg versus Protoss, where supposedly our Zerg player reinvents the late game meta. Not entirely sure what to expect, but I'm excited to find out. This is a replay that a lot of you have reached out to me about, so I'm excited to see exactly what happened. I heard a couple of rumors about a probe getting abducted. Not entirely sure, but anyways, we're looking at none other than Scarlett's main hatchery. Her opponent in the opposite corner with the red Protoss pieces. He goes by the name of GunGFuBanDa. Alright, now this is a long game. So I hope you're ready. Maybe you got a drink. I have myself about 2 liters of water here. I just finished my coffee, so I am well prepared for this particular match. But this is certainly a longer game of PvZ. I haven't seen what happened here, but word on the StarCraft street has it that at some point Scarlett may very well be making a Nexus of her own. So that's what I heard. So I don't know. I'm just telling you guys what I've heard, okay? Maybe a spoiler for this, but anyways, it is what it is. I haven't seen that happen in a very, very long time, just because it is very difficult to pull off. So we're gonna find out together how in the world something like that can happen. So theoretically in StarCraft 2, you can neural parasite, for example, a probe, and then make a Nexus, and then start up your entire Protoss army too. You can do the same thing as well with Terran. Obviously in Brood War you have mind control, where Dark Archons can take control of units, but in StarCraft 2 it is a little tricky. Especially if you're Zerg and you're feeling like giving this sort of thing a try, making a command center is really difficult, because you need to neural an SCV repeatedly. You need to have a bunch of the, because basically the neural parasite will run out, right? So you need to have a bunch of infestors close by to continuously neural the unit, just to try and finish up the command center, because otherwise that SCV will try to slip away. So neuraling a probe and then making a Nexus is relatively doable, but the problem is you can't build a Nexus on creep. So I don't understand how this game happened, and I don't understand what in the world Scarlett is gonna pull off here, but it certainly sparked my interest. It's gonna be a Stargate opener right here from GunGfu. Nexus on the low ground, of course. Natural expansion rather from the Zerg did get blocked. So we have the forward expo taken here by Scarlett instead. Always a bit of a dangerous choice, but then again, a couple advantages to it too. Even though you are expanding in the direction of the Protoss, there's a rich Vespian Geyser, not to be underestimated, very strong. Plus, one big advantage is that your creep actually starts spreading from basically the middle of the map. So if you micro everything well, you can get a tremendous amount of creep spread here very early on. Okay. Oracle opener here from GunGfu. Nothing all too weird. Haven't really casted a whole lot of GunGfu or Scarlett lately. Not entirely sure how much either player is currently playing. Although I'm sure they've been putting in the work, but just haven't seen either of these two players' names in as many tournaments as of late. I know Scarlett at some point was very busy as well with Zero Space, which is a RTS game that's currently in development. Maybe that's what she's been up to, I'm not sure. Anyways, Oracle coming up. We have a probe already mining the right side minerals here. These skinny mineral fields do need to be mined out. But then at some point you can grab that expansion relatively easily. We do have the Overlord trying to see exactly what is going on the right side of the map. So one theme that I've noticed quite a bit in the late game of Protoss versus Zerg over the last couple of months, and I don't want to be a biased caster, but just a theme I've observed is that Zerg in the late game doesn't really seem to win very much. It seems like the vast majority of the games that I have seen that take to like the 30 to 40 minute mark or so, it seems like the majority of the time Zerg at the, well, in the current map pool and the current balance patch, Zerg seems to lose quite a bit more frequently nowadays. There's usually, as we do have the Oracles swooping in, quite a bit of desperation on the side of the Zerg now to try and end the game early. And that, of course, immediately means as well that both Terran as well as Protoss are playing a little bit more turtley. They're very happy to play defensively and try to get the game to go as long as possible. So 2 queens have gone down. 1 drone has gone down. Only a single Oracle. I think that's a pretty good deal. Usually, of course, you do want to keep those oracles around, but this third Nexus is relatively safe, so I don't think it's a really big problem, especially now with another oracle joining in the fray over at that rich base as well. Not the start here that Scarlett is really hoping for. It's so funny, though, because I hear a lot of complaints from Zerg players that are like, you know, basically all about Zerg being unplayable now, and apparently Zerg is mostly extinct on the ladder now above Master League, and it's a bit of a disaster. At the same time, though, I would not be surprised at all if Serral shows up in Dallas and just beats the competition and wins the entire tournament. You know, assuming he gets time away from his military service, but I don't think anybody would be surprised if he ends up winning the entire event. Pretty much entirely uncontested. It seems like, usually StarCraft 2, right? It always gets balanced around the pro level, but for Zerg right now, it really feels like it's not even balanced around the pro level. It's balanced around Serral. That is how they've decided to balance Zerg, and it's a dangerous play. What if Serral does get time to play the StarCraft events, right? And he gets to leave the military for a little bit, and he comes to one of those tournaments and he switches to Terran. Supposedly his Terran is really, really good. That would be the race switch of the century. I don't think that would ever happen, but just an interesting thought. I don't think anybody's really seen him play now in several months. Okay. Good bit of damage done right here, though, by GungFu. This is forcing out a Ravager Queen push on the other side of the map, and GungFu only just now really picks up on it. We have a couple of Zerglings coming in from the right side as well. Blink is only about halfway done at this point, so that's not going to finish during this attack. Scarlett is going to try and see if she can deal critical amounts of damage, because so far the economy has been hindered a lot. And this is one of those desperation attacks that I was trying to mention. We see a lot more of this type of aggression, just to try and prevent the game from going the distance. Now, I like these pushes a lot from Zerg, especially when they play a clean early game. But when the game gets a little bit messy, and you do lose a bunch of drones and queens early on, I don't think these attacks are nearly as potent. GungFu, though, didn't see this coming in until very late, so the Stalkers actually do take a bit of a beating. Losing that Oracle earlier does kind of suck now, but obviously, well, it killed 2 queens, which I think is worthwhile. Battery overcharge is really good. Cooldown of it is, of course, quite long, but it's already about a third of the way available once more. And that is really the timer here that Scarlett is, forced to play around. She's going back to droning here. Excellent hold right there by the Protoss. Robo Bay coming up. The entire wall over here has been deconstructed, but everything else is okay. This is a game, by the way, from a little bit ago. I believe this is a ladder game. The reason I say that is, I think this must be at least a couple weeks old now, which in StarCraft terms is considered quite long, but the rocks here are not the updated version yet. The updated version of Crimson Court has less rocks on the map. Shouldn't make a huge difference, but I would imagine this is a ladder game that these two played a couple weeks ago. And oh, that disappointment. I grabbed my coffee mug and then I realized I had already finished it. I even mentioned it earlier. Ay, ay, ay. Anyways, I would imagine that this is indeed at least a few weeks old at this point. Hierodan coming up. Infestation Pit coming up. 7 Overlords. Okay. Little bit much. Scarlett is making sure that she has Overlords for the next game as well. But at the very least now she doesn't have to worry about them for the rest of the game, assuming she doesn't lose any. In the meantime, on the other side though, GungFu is building up a big army, and this is of course a nice opportunity for the Protoss to go and move out. Cost-efficient early game here, all things considered. But right now, the army value here for the Protoss is quite significant. Plus, this is a much higher tier army from the Protoss than it is from the Zerg. A lot of early game units right here for the Zerg player. She's trying to go straight into a hive together with a lurker then, but that does mean that GunGFuBanDa right now has an opportunity to push. But then again, like I said, a lot of Protoss and Terran players alike, they don't really play too aggressively because they don't really feel like they absolutely need to. Okay. +2 is going to finish up. Extend the thermal lens. We have charge about halfway done at this point too. A little late. but it should be manageable. I think there's actually a gigantic timing window right now for GunGfu to try and move. Problem here for the Protoss, though, is that there's a lot of creep to go through. You never really know exactly about that timing of the hive. Protoss, of course, doesn't have a lot of vision around the map. Yeah. Not a whole lot was seen here. So I think GunGfu is more than happy just to secure that 4th base and play this a little bit more passively. Okay, blink forward. Queen's in a little bit of trouble. And with a little bit of trouble, I mean death. Alright. As soon as Lurkers are out, though, and as soon as Vipers are available with some energy, it's going to be much more difficult for the Protoss player to attack. Lurkers are indeed already available. Spine Crawlers are coming up. Spore Crawlers are here. We have had a couple of Lurkers on the production... Or, sorry, a couple of Vipers on the production tab, too. And obviously, if they can abduct those Colossi, suddenly this army is not nearly as menacing. You can hit, indeed, with the Colossi from the low ground. Little bit of roasting. But ultimately, GunGfu decides to back off. Okay. 17 additional drones? Really? Alright. So Scarlett apparently agrees. She's feeling really comfortable now that the Lurkers and the Vipers are here. I don't think you can push anymore. I mean, you can obviously try and hit the opponent here at a different angle, but I don't think you can really attack here as Protoss. Protoss players have gotten a lot better, though, at microing their units in the mid-game. And rather than instantly transitioning towards Skytos, a lot of Protoss players in the current meta are actually more than happy to play that double Immortal production and go mass Immortal, sometimes with Archon, against Lurkers instead. It's something that technically was always possible, but not a lot of players really went for that style. Zealots here at the bottom of the map are going to be able to snipe that hatchery. Now it's time, though, for the Roaches and Ravagers to trade themselves out for something better. So Scarlett is going to try and just get whatever value she can get. But I don't think she really wants to keep these units around for too much longer, because they're soaking up a lot of supply that could go into a bunch of Lurkers here. Sorry, buddy, I think you're dead. Oh, maybe the entire Protoss army is going to be dead at this rate. Well, big surround. You know what? No, it's not enough Lurkers right here. I think there are more Lurkers available, but they're not set up over here at the front. Because of that nice concave, GunGfu manages to mitigate a lot of that splash damage. Lovely micro here by the Protoss. Yeah. I mean, eventually the Roaches die. But since now we're kind of in an awkward spot, Scarlett is apparently feeling compelled to remake those Roaches too. Alright. 19 probes were killed. 15 drones were killed throughout this game too. Now suddenly, though, this game is looking a whole lot more comfortable for the Zerg. Even though that was a wipe of the armies, the Protoss economy is not quite as significant as that of the Zerg. And it can be quite difficult for Protoss to actually take another expansion here. Do you take it in the middle? Do you take it in the bottom right? Do you mine out the mineral fields and do you go for that one? First 4 bases here on the map, relatively easy. I would even call the 5th base relatively easy. This one is a no-brainer, but this is that point where Scarlett does have a whole lot of resources available, and she's mostly getting rid of that lower tier army in favor of Lurker, Hydra, Viper. Okay, Storm coming up. +1 air weapons, +1 flyer. Already researching for the Zerg player as well. Looks like for the majority of the game so far, Scarlett has been sitting on just a single evolution chamber here, so the +1 carapace has started up quite late. Likewise for the Protoss, we've only had a single forge available. That one was built right around the same time as the Twilight Council, so never double forge. Indeed. Eventually you do need a fleet beacon, which is coming up right now. Okay. Zealots. Trying to see if they can potentially get a kill here on anything. They will find a hatchery. That one should be a relatively easy kill if the Zealots decide to focus their weapons on it. Now the Roaches, though, come for the rescue. +1 air weapon starts up here as well for the Protoss player. It's interesting. Both players upgrading their air units before having any air units. I think they both realize very well where this game is going. If those Immortals turn their weapons onto the hatchery, they can actually just blast it. But again, a little too late. Yeah. I think GunGFu could have killed that base in the top left, as well as this hatchery here in the middle. Instead now, both of those will stay alive, and we kind of awkwardly lose a bunch of units. Hello, Zealots? Okay. Apparently they had their mandatory lunch break on creep. Sometimes that happens. What are you going to do about it? Roaches on the left side of the map, though, the ones that killed those Zealots earlier, they were caught in the middle of the map, too. Okay. Tempest coming up. Mama Ship coming up, too. Yeah, so a lot of the games I cast are from the very best players in the world, right? I try to, well, cover the best games of StarCraft. So if you look at players like, for example, Dark, like Raynor, like Solar, right? Like the top tier Zergs, they seem to handle late game Protoss quite well. They seem to handle late game Zerg quite well too. It seems like everybody essentially right below that skill level, and that includes pro gamers. A lot of players below that level, aka below like the best of the best, they seem to be struggling in the late game quite a bit. So I'm not exactly sure where Scarlett is currently at as far as that goes. One Templar getting abducted. But it's okay. The Zealots in the meantime, by the way, that ended up killing that hatchery. They have nowhere to go because the mineral fields haven't been mined out yet, so... They could have gone home the other way around, but instead they wanted to hide in the corner and try to see if they can get a kill on that base once again. Alrighty, so where are we at right now? Center base has been taken by GunGFu. Main base and natural expansion are going to be running very low at this stage in the game. Zerg has gobbled up a lot of the bases around the map. But she doesn't really have an army that can easily go across the map and win at this point in time. Because Protoss has got a lot of those defensive structures set up. Plus at this point we have the Mothership, we've got the Tempest. This is not an army that you can very easily break. Nidus network coming up. Okay. Yep, so this is going to be the moment where GunGFu is going to try and make a move for one of those difficult bases. Even though the creep started all the way on the other side of the map, it has almost arrived at that 12 o'clock spot. Prism, Gravitic Driver Nut ended up getting sniped. Now we even have the Observer Speed upgrade coming, which is really only an upgrade you get when the game is really going to go the distance. Okay. Now with Zerg, obviously, you can mine multiple of those outer bases relatively easily. So Scarlett is probably considering making this base again and trying to mine that one together with the one on the bottom right. Usually for Terran and for Protoss, you can't really do that as easily. So usually Protoss will expand a little bit slower. As long as this base stays alive though and fully mines out, GunGFu can focus a lot of his attention mining this base up north. That's exactly where we see that Protoss army currently setting up shop. Ultra Cavern coming up, Greater Spire coming up. We have a transition towards everything. Alright, step one of everything. Lurkers in the main base. Awkward moment here for GunGFu because he's maxed out. So he can only warp in 2 Zealots. That's actually so sad because he was on top of that immediately. Ah, you know what? Fully upgraded Zealot's pretty good. Huh, I didn't think those 2 Zealots were going to be able to complete and do that much damage, but... fair enough. Push in the meantime, though. There's quite a bit of anti-air available here for the Zerg player. That storm doesn't hit much of anything. One of the Tempests gets abducted. Double. Really. Double Ultra Cavern. I thought for a second one of those Ultra Caverns was inside of the main base of the Protoss there. That'd be weird. Alright. Revelation being used from that early game Oracle. And it is going to clean up all of that very nicely. Roaches at the front. Again, ready to trade themselves out. This time around, it is for real as Corruptors are already coming up on the production tab. Okay. So resources lost twice. This has actually been a very efficient game here by Scarlett. Impressively so. Usually at this stage in the game, we will see Protoss losing less resources than the Zerg. Mothership apparently also got abducted, even though I didn't have it on the camera. I think that was a given. Motherships always get abducted. Yeah. Gonna have to keep an eye out on this. Neuroparasite is researching. Together with a bunch of infestors. I really want to know what Scarlett's plan is. Nope. So to clarify, by the way, High Templar do outrange Vipers. Their feedback ability can be used at a significant range, but obviously it's difficult to step in the direction of the lurkers. But whenever it's in like flat terrain like that and you see a Viper abducting a High Templar, it should have technically never happened. If StarCraft 2 was an Excel spreadsheet anyways. Much easier said than done, but I have seen a bunch of High Templar now getting abducted, which is a little bit sloppy. Mama ship coming up. Once more. Okay. So at this point, Scarlett is ahead as far as the upgrade goes. She's ahead as far as the resources lost goes. She's ahead as far as the bank goes. She's ahead as far as the amount of expansion goes too. Although that last one, yeah. Maybe Protoss is going to be able to take the lead in that department. Looks like GunGfu is actually thinking about double expanding. That's a very ambitious play. Ultralisk coming up. 6 additional gateways too, so we're already at 9 gates. All the way up to 15 gateways in total. Double upgrades here as well in the Cybercore. Dark Shrine researching. I don't think so. Okay, with Neural Parasite, sure. Alright, that's one way of doing it. Well, you know what, I say that. Yeah, Immortals are real good units, man. Oh, yeah. Well, that looked like it was gonna be a really good fight, but... Immortals were only tasked with killing the hatchery and the hatchery alone. I'm not gonna bother with the drone, okay? That was not in their combat plans. Ultras, when the opponent has Immortals, though, is a very dangerous play. There are now 4 Ultras on the production tab. There's still 6 Immortals available. A bunch of Tempests, too. I am not in love with a transition right at this point in the game to mass Ultralisk. I think it's very risky. Ultra risky? Okay, no, I tried. Ultralisky. These Immortals, by the way, they're just having a grand old time. 18 and 11 kills combined. Or, actually, not even combined. 18 kills on the one, 11 on the other. Add some more to the mix. Immortals, yeah. They're having such a good time against Ultras. Alright. Scarlett knows that she cannot have this base stolen, by the way. Normally, Protoss do trade more cost efficiently. Ah, there you go. That's what we want to see from Protoss. Nicely done right here by GunGfu. Yeah, normally Protoss trades more cost efficiently, so obviously you want to try and prevent the game from, as Zerg at least, you want to prevent the game to get to a point where 50% of the map is mined by Protoss and 50% of the map is mined by Zerg. Scarlett really needs to take one of the bases of the Protoss, so... Yeah, obviously if GunGfu manages to get that exact thing done, but then from the opponent that would be a disaster for Scarlett. So GunGfu mining out this expansion is super good for him. Incredibly good, actually. That is gonna arrive at, yeah, the 50% mark. Would love to see the gases taken here. No reason not to take the gas. Okay. GunGfu realizes it too right now and grabs it. So let's see. Yeah, what do you make in the late game, right? That is always the question here. What in the world do you produce as Zerg in the late game? Because it always feels like everything kind of gets counted a little bit. And I realize, since I'm a Zerg player myself, I may be a little bit biased in that department, but it is a difficult choice. Always feels like the opponent has some strong counters available. No carriers, by the way, in the mix here for GunGfu, which is a bit interesting. Just going into mass Tempest for the most part. I guess they're good against lurker-based armies, but Okay, we have oracles added into the mix too. I think those are absolutely critical when you do play Tempest. Carriers are much easier to play. I like the Dark Templar, by the way. Dark Templar DPS is much higher. Yeah, plus they have Blink. That's actually kind of nice. Yeah. But Tempest can shoot away further than they can see, so in combination with the Oracle's Revelation ability, you can get it at maximum efficiency. There's another mothership going down, because of course. Push over on the right side of the map. Okay. Nah, that was a little overly ambitious. Okay. Just making sure that nothing too crazy happens there. An Overseer and a Dark Templar are having a bit of a stare-off here. They can see each other. GunGFu does not want to have to deal with a Nidus Worm in the main base right now. A Lurker infestation in the main would be an absolute disaster. Okay, so slowly but surely, though, we are getting to a point when the entire map is going to be mined. So, if there's no more resources available, what do? Push over here on the right side of the map. Infestors derp forward a little bit, but that's okay. The entire Protoss army is currently on the left side of the map. I would love to see GunGFu make a move there, or maybe at least have the mothership available here to recall some units, or at least do something. Kind of feels like we're just taking a beating now, although maybe the reinforcing Protoss units can actually clear out this entire Zerg swarm. Losing the gas geyser is, I guess it mined the majority of the gas inside of it. Yeah, those golden balls of energy very quickly make they very quickly make work of that hatch. Hatch falls in just a couple seconds. A Nexus falls as well, but I think this is alright. Most of the resources here are mined out. Not the end of the world. This does, though, open up the front door right now to go towards the right side of the map and potentially into the main base. GunGFuBanDa venturing deeper and deeper onto the creep. Probes here moving very far forward. Oh, we're just sacrificing themselves. Okay. No, getting rid of the workers right now because there's no reason for them to exist anymore. I know, sounds sad. So sad, dude. The entire early game is about harassing workers, and then at some point, StarCraft players start giving up on them. Yeah, in a lot of games, that is not relevant, but at some point... Ooh. Why are we... Okay, I gotta pause. I think this is on purpose. That probe is not being killed. And Scarlett is clearing out her own creep tumors in the main base. Yeah, she purposefully, if you attack move here, that probe is dead in a heartbeat. I think this is the key move here. Oh, yeah. You do not want to leave them around because they will insta-kill it. Oh, no. Oh, no. I think this is the reason why people reached out to me. I think this is the time. That is so cheeky. Normally you just send the probes out because they will sort of die. Oh no. Infestors don't have an auto attack ability. In the meantime, big push in the middle of the map. Little overly ambitious. She needs to wait a bit until the creep disappears. No way. Alright. So she killed it as quickly as possible to try and make sure that that Nexus will not be spotted. I'm actually gonna go back here to that moment. I want to see what GunGFu was looking at. So this is GunGFu's vision. Notice the spot in the minimap. I don't think he noticed. No. I don't think he saw. So as soon as you take control of the unit, obviously it switches sides, so you don't actually remain vision of it. So GunGFu is... Oh, he has no idea. Alright, so... what do we do now? Well, first off, we kill a little bit of a Protoss army that's onto the creep. GunGFu has no idea that there's an opposing Nexus building. Scarlett is going to be able to continue building up her army, but this time around with Protoss units. Now, obviously, it'll take a long time to build up. What is the most overpowered composition you can make with Zerg and Protoss units combined? If you had to make one Death Ball army, what should it be? There's not actually that much gas here for the Zerg/Protoss player. I've always thought something like Roach Immortal Archon or something would be insane. You could make High Templar to feedback the opposing Templar. That'd be really funky. Base in the middle will end up getting destroyed, but as we saw, GunGFu has already been giving up on probes. I don't think he really minds that a bunch of those additional workers end up going down. What about Fungal Growth into Storm? Great option. You can technically cloak your Brute Lords if you have a Mothership above it. It just makes the entire game a little complex, because suddenly you need 17 control groups. So I don't think Scarlett needs to go that far. You know what she can just do? She can recall her army. Right from the very start. She doesn't have to, she doesn't have to get fancy here. She can recall anything in the direction of that Nexus. And that does not require any additional tech. Because the problem here is going into a gateway, into a cybercore, into a Stargate, into a fleet beacon, right? Like, all of that is thousands upon thousands of resources. Okay. GunGFu pushing on the left side of the map right now, clearing out a ton of the tech. If she actually recalls towards the Nexus, I'm gonna lose my mind. That would be so funny. I don't think she needs to, though. Nah, the army over here is good enough. Quite a few Brute Lords up in the air, too. 12 of them in total. Yeah, we're gonna go up to about 20 or so Corruptors as well. That Sky Zerg army alone is gonna be enough. Yeah, I don't think she wants to tech up. I don't think she wants to tech up because she only has 2,500 gas. So currently the Zerg army is 6.2. This is actually a super expensive army here from the Zerg. Over 6,000 gas here. Protoss is not really making as much of a death ball. I think that's mostly because of the Tempest here in the mix. Brute Lords right now going to town as well. I really hope she makes use of the Nexus, though. Oh, no, no, no! No, the Zealots are gonna scout it! This no, they don't. No, they stopped moving. GunGFu was gonna scout the Nexus. It's like the last thing you expect inside of the Zerg's main base. Void Ray is coming up. +3/+3 is finishing here as well for the Protoss. So +3/+3/+3/+3/+3 across the board. I think I said it's 5 times, right? I think I said it, yeah. Sounds about right. If I was the Zerg right now, I'd be getting very giddy about it. I would just be recalling just for the hell of it. Just because I can. Not because I need to, but just because I can. Oh! Sorry, what? There's a Phoenix. When did that arrive? So there's a moment here. I'm gonna go once again into GunGFu's vision. Oh, he plays with the in-control announcer? I think he does. So this is the Phoenixes. I think they're just sent towards the... I think they are sent in the direction of the main base. Okay. Does he actually look at the... So the Phoenix right now on the minimap is there. But does he actually check?
They're attacking our base.
Ah, he's under so much pressure here.
Upgrade complete.
This is his vision, but I don't think he's checking. Nah, he's busy. You just don't check for such things. Okay, I'm taking control of the camera again, but you just don't check for such things, you know? Just one of those moments that you don't really... Like, you assume on the minimap at this point that it's a macro hatch. It's very far to the right side, because sometimes your units can kind of get stuck, but it would be a very strange moment for a macro hatch, or a very strange position for it, but it'd be okay. Alright, so big picture, who's actually winning this game? Hard to say. The limiting resource very much so in the late game is gas. For both Protoss as well as for Zerg. I like the position here a little bit better for Scarlett. Oh, I'm gonna switch back to this is GunGFu's vision. GunGFu, your Phoenix is under attack inside of the main. I think he just sent the Phoenixes in to die. I don't think he actually ever looked at that Nexus. Pretty sure he hasn't. Even though he's had vision of it, I don't think he actually saw it. Loads of minerals available across the board. Here comes the Protoss army once again. Another Greater Spire. It will end up going down. Wait. Scarlett. Scarlett is making a probe. She just made a probe. That's so cursed. What are we gonna do with the probe? You know what you can do? Hold up right now. I was thinking, right? One of the issues you run into as Zerg in the late game. Well, I guess shield batteries aren't very helpful. Never mind. I was thinking shield batteries are really good. You can obviously make spine crawlers and spore crawlers and all that and moving them around. What about a combination of photon cannons together with spines and spores? She could make pylons. She's gonna need pylons. So the problem is that spores and spines and photon cannons don't really play nice. Because you need creep, right? For the spores and the spines, but you can't have creep. So now GunGFu must see it. Hold up, I gotta go back. He just moved around that Phoenix. Unless he all army hotkeyed. He may have all army hotkeyed. That Phoenix is still, it's hard to see on the minimap, but it's still right there at like in between those, that little bit of dead space, in between those Zerg bases. There you go. Now he finally noticed it for sure. Maybe he saw it before this already.
Hey, they're attacking our base.
But what in the world do you even think of it right now? Are you concerned about all of this? Are you thinking that Zerg could be teching up towards Protoss units? I'm not so sure. Also, what are we doing with the probe? What is the point of the probe? Maybe it's just for stall points. A bit of a morale boost to have Probius be part of your army. Okay. GunGFu, though, has found a really nice path over here on the left side of the map. He keeps on carving away over here at all of these Zerg units. Brenda, what are you doing? Terrible decision. I hope Scarlett does something with the Nexus, by the way. I'd be very disappointed if we finally have a game where Protoss is a little too greedy with the probe giveaway, and then the Nexus actually never gets used. I think just using it for recall alone is already worthwhile. I would love to see a Zerg army get recalled. Anyways, GunGFu right now. Yeah, starting to get into the main base. You know what? You can defend the main base by recalling these army units too. I don't think it's worth for Scarlett here to tech up towards a mothership. Mostly because that would be like 1,000 minerals, 1,000 gas for a mama ship. And it's barely worth it at 300, you know? So I don't think it's worth it for her to spend all that money. Oh, we need to recall! Yes! She's recalling the Brute Lords! She just recalled the Brute Lords. Protoss got into the main base, and you know what? It's actually the game-winning play, I think. Recall does get used as well from our Protoss player. That is glorious. I don't think I've ever seen Brute Lords get recalled. At the very least, not in a pro game. Six workers remain right now for the Zerg player, though. Scarlett is, yeah, maybe doing some fancy play here, but she's got a massive army. You know what? That's actually, that alone is already worth something. There's still 52 probes available for GunGFu. Last time around, he tried to donate some of them. It did go horribly wrong. Yeah, I guess it can't really go much more wrong than it did already, though, so we're just gonna continuously send them around. GunGFu has got a gajillion resources in the bank. It really needs to get spending. Yeah, 13 zealots come up right now. Fair enough. We need to continue warping in stuff, because Zerg at this point not really mining anymore. Loads of probes. Yeah, Scarlett wants to. Yeah, she doesn't want to kill the probes. In a very strange way, you got to storm your own units here. She doesn't want to kill the probes because she knows that that is just helping the Protoss player. Oh, big ball of Protoss over here gets caught as well, but Immortal Archon pretty good. Maybe we should see Stalkers instead, honestly. Okay, yeah, those Tempest and... I think the Void Rays and the Tempest are dead. We have one Archon trying to get some damage done, but no Storm energy available, so that's all of the flying units gone. In the meantime, we have a group of Zealots going after a newly acquired base. Problem, though, is that without those Skytools units, Scarlett can just make more Brute Lords. So the counter to Stalkers usually is just more Brute Lords. The main threat is that the opponent can just transition into... Yeah, now we have the Stalker Warp in, but that's a little bit late. I think the main threat here is that Zerg can just add on even more Brutes. And if you... Yeah, don't really have a Tempest transition or a Carrier or a Void Ray transition, whatever, right? If you don't have any of that on the horizon, just more Brute Lords are really difficult to counter. Okay, so the only minerals that really remain still are the ones over here on the right side. There's about 1,000 gas here in total. I think everything else is basically mined out. Scarlett is going to try and take this expansion again, but she currently doesn't have any drones. GunGFu is currently busy depleting the bank. This is going to be a full-on ground army now from the Protoss player. So that means that 23 Corruptors are essentially wasted. 12 drones get remade. Oracle's coming up as well with some stasis wards here, which is obviously real nice. But yeah, the Ultralists don't really care. Okay, additional Stalkers. This is a scary Protoss army. There's a lot of supply caught up in Corruptors that don't do much. Scarlett currently doesn't have gas to make more Brutes. That's the main issue. How many Infestors do we have? 4 Infestors in total. This is one hell of a choke point right here, though. We have Zerglings attempting to go for a surround on the right side here. Another big fungal growth, but those Immortals have been targeting down all of those Ultras easy peasy. It's mostly those Zerglings here that remain. We have a blink forward as well to try and snipe as many of those Brutes in the sky as possible. Oh, there it is. GG gets cold. A very messy fight. I was wondering if maybe GunGFu could have waited just a little bit longer for one more warp in, because that was a very close battle. But when you know there's Zerglings underneath the Brutes, the Brutelings, right? The Stalkers kill the Brutelings real quick. But the Zerglings, they deal so much damage when they are fully upgraded. And when you're awkwardly trying to target fire down the Brute Lords and there's just a bunch of fully upgraded Adrenal Links killing the Stalkers in the meantime, they bite through them really quickly. So in the end, it's Scarlett who obtains the victory. You know what? I think the game-winning move was when she recalled the Brute Lords. Without that play, I don't know if it would have happened.